Hey there, welcome back to the Beaches Farm Girl. I'm Nadine and today I'm here to talk to you about gardening. Here we're in the temperate zones of the northern beaches in Sydney and it's March, which means summer is ended and we're coming into autumn. So it's a perfect time to have a big tidy up. You can compost all the fallen leaves, cut off any growth that is no longer performing, and it will help you put the energy back into fruit production instead of just to the leaves. Okay, so let's have a look through the garden and see what's growing at the moment and what seeds we can sow later. If you aren't familiar with the gardening zone, Sydney is the temperate climate classification of Australia. We have warm, mild temperatures here on the northern beaches, but the days are starting to get cooler as summer has ended and autumn has begun. Check out this cucumber. I love just looking through the veggie garden and finding little surprises like this. So now is also the time to be planting beets. The chilies are coming into harvest time as well. You can see the tomatoes are needing some attention. So if we can take out that death and be careful not to prune out the live stuff at the ends, because often there is fruit on the end of what looks like a dead vine, we should get some more fruit. I've attempted growing okra for the first time and it was looking very promising, but I've left it on the plant for too long trying to get more, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to harvest seeds from here or what to do. But that's a lesson, that's what gardening is. It's a science and experiments. And up the end, we have the worm farm, which gives all the fertilizer to feed everything. You want to make sure you're putting nutrients back into the soil because growing food takes a lot of nutrients out of the soil. And the best way to do that is by having a thriving worm farm. Okay, so today I'm going to plant some seeds, but before I do any planting, I like to start up by giving the garden a big tidy up. So you can see the tomatoes behind me need a bit of a prune. So let's join me and do that. Okay, so grab your secateurs and a bucket because you don't want to be getting your, I'll cut this off so you can see, because you don't want to be getting these leaves from the tomatoes in your garden or in your compost. These need to go into your green waste bin because they will put nutrients into your compost and your veggie garden that you don't want. If you haven't already realized, this is garden therapy for me. It's really good for mental health. Okay, so what's growing in my vegetable garden in March? I've still got some tomatoes ripening on the vine here. If you haven't already planted your tomatoes, it is too late now, but don't pull them out. Years ago, once we got to March, we would pull them out in Sydney, but the seasons are extending, everything's changing, so just feel with it, go with the flow, and you can keep harvesting your tomatoes. One amazing tip I learned from a wise old gardener who was a neighbour many years ago when I first planted tomatoes was companion planting, and she told me to plant basil, which she called basilica, and marigolds, which we couldn't figure out how to say, next to tomatoes, and they really strengthen it. So the basil and the marigolds scare away all the bad insects and soil pests that will affect the tomatoes and help them thrive. So if you're new to growing your own food, you will soon realize that a seed collection box is a must, and you will never know what's in there, how much is left, when the seeds are out of date, and you need to just throw them all into the garden and hope for the best. I've gone through my collection and I've created a bag of seeds that can be sown directly, which means that you can just pop them in the garden, put soil over them, and they will thrive perfectly going directly in the soil. And then there's another bag of seeds which they need to go into punnets, so they just need a bit more nurturing, a bit more protection in their early stages of growth. So let's have a look at the direct. What I do have is purple peas, which the kids love, lots of flowers. I'm going to plant some of these calendula seeds because they are almost out of date. It says they're best before August 2025 and it's March, so just throw them all in the garden and see how we go. And I can't not plant snow peas. These are the kids' favourites. Well, actually the whole family's favourites. There's nothing like just picking a snow pea off the vine and tasting that really fresh, crunchy, it's got like a natural sugary sweetness to it. If you're only going to grow one thing, grow some snow peas. So these seeds look like this. And from there, you get a whole heap of delicious peas that even the kids will eat. And in the punnets, okay, so sowing seeds into punnets does take a bit more effort. You've got to prep the punnet, and then you also need to remember to water it daily. If they dry out, your seeds will die. Chives are always a winner. They go perfectly in your eggs just to lift it, and all of a sudden scrambled eggs go from average to yummy, exciting. It doesn't get any better than grabbing an egg from your chickens, getting some chives from your garden, and just making up a delicious meal. Turns out I do have some lettuce seeds, but they're past their best before date. So I'm going to scatter these in punnets, hope for the best, and it gives me every excuse to get on Diggers Club and order more seeds. Yay! Okay, so in true form, I've had a heap of jobs to do, and I have come back to plant these in the following day, and you can see that they're not looking so great. So I'm going to give them a good worm tea watering before transplanting them. I mostly just use hand tools in my veggie garden. Prefer not to dig too much and upset the soil. And because all of these marigolds are quite weak, I'm just going to plant them all out together. You can see they're really pop bound with their roots like this. It can be quite rough. Just pull a few off. I'm going to do the basil quite differently. It's a much healthier plant, and I want to make the most of this pot. So I'm going to plant some of it here in the veggie garden and then some of it in the kitchen herbs pot, which is just near our kitchen door. We break it into two. Are you helping, Pirate? That's a pretty average stick. I cleared up all the good sticks, didn't I? Okay, and you can see that it's autumn time and there's natural mulch happening all around my garden. So ideally we would shred these leaves up, make them a bit thinner so that the seeds and everything can get through it better. It's a perfect time to be growing leafy greens, so we can still be thinking about lettuces for salads and kale. I do not have any lettuce seeds in my seed box at the moment, so we will need to go and have a little visit to the nursery. What a shame. Any excuse will do. But what I do have is a whole heap of different peas. I normally get my seeds from the Diggers Club, so you can get annual membership with them, and I will more than likely update mine. If I do, I will share a link with you down below. And I've also got a whole heap of flowers, so we're just going to try and attract the pollinators, and I've got a whole heap of bare ground here ready to plant in. A good thing to remember when you're planting out seeds is to write a label so you know what's where. Next, I'm going to plant one of the kids' favorites, which is snow dwarf peas, and I'm going to cheat at the moment and just plant them close to this frame which we will steal from the tomatoes once these seeds are established. So again, it's really important to keep your facing frame. It's really important to make a label so you're not pulling out seeds that you think might be weeds, and so you know what's what. And you'll see that most pea seeds are this more creamy green colour. I might just sprinkle these around in a circle and then throw some soil over the top of them. Good old purple pea. This is a fun one. It just adds a lot of interest to salad, a plate. It's the whole eat the rainbow kind of thing, and it's really exciting for the kids to come out and find something that they can eat that isn't green. So this is what these seeds look like. They are quite big. I always like to plant seeds in groups of at least 2. So you kind of want to plant seeds about the same depth of what their width is. So our peas and beans want a trellis to grow up. This is one of the spare ones that I've got at the moment. I did try and get more from the garden centre that are like this, which you can adjust them, which are great to just move up the support when you're growing crops, but there weren't any, so I might have to do a bit of research. Again, if I find any great products that I can share with you, I'll put them down in the links below. A quick little tip, I'm not sure if you can see it just here. Yep. So a cucumber vine grows out everywhere, and you want to be watering the roots. So I just kind of put a little bit of a stick and a marker, so it's really easy to just come along and water the roots. But I'm super lucky that the rain's coming to help me as well, so I'm going to go and do some inside jobs now. Blech. For anyone wondering what I wear to garden, it's good old trusty Crocs. So there you have it. March is the perfect time to start growing your own food. If you liked this video, please subscribe so I know I'm not just talking to myself. I hope to see you next time. Bye.